It's probably not surprising to you that Democrats lie. They use levers of power for political gain. Because if you've been paying attention at all in the past 10 years, you've seen it. Donald Trump being accused of being a Russian spy, fake. Donald Trump, Ukraine scandal, fake. They claimed Joe Biden did not engage in a quid pro quo with the president of Ukraine. Lies. He did. Hunter Biden's laptop scandal. They said 51 experts, former intelligence officials said this is all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. Fake. The laptop was Hunter's. They lie. Rachel Maddow is now being sued, along with others at MSNBC, or they've been in the process of a lawsuit, which is advancing, which we'll get into in a later segment. It's advancing after they accused a doctor of being the uterus collector, sterilizing immigrant women. Lies. So I'm not surprised that when it comes to holding Merrick Garland in inherent contempt for his criminal activities, yes, confirmed, Merrick Garland committed crimes. Fact. Once again, statement of fact. Democrats said no. Democrats said we will not hold our AG in contempt and penalize him for using the levers of power for personal gain. I'm not surprised. I'm also not particularly surprised that 4 Republicans have joined in the effort to burn this country to the ground. I am particularly angry about this story, but we have developments here. From the Hill, Luna push to fine Garland $10,000 per day over Biden-Hur tapes fails. Now, last night, we got reporting that the vote failed, but this was inaccurately reported by The Independent. What was actually happening was an attempt to table the resolution or push it to the Rules Committee, which would effectively kill it. It failed. The vote actually happened just a moment ago, as I'm recording this video. And it failed. And it failed because 4 Republicans joined the Democrats to spit in your face. They looked you in the eyes, America, and they said to you, with smiles on their faces, your country does not matter. The rule of law does not matter. Only the power of the establishment elites matter. And you're not in the club. They said to you with this vote, there is no will of the American people. There is only the will of the powerful. And that ain't you. As they trade stocks to enrich themselves. As Congress has a very strange, disproportionate amount of millionaires in their ranks. You don't matter, they say. And we see this with this bill. Let me break it down for you rather simply, and then we'll go through the news, and I will tell you who these men are who betrayed this country in favor of the powerful elites. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, they're in jail. They're in prison right now. Why? Well, contempt of Congress. You see, contempt of Congress is a criminal action. And they were held in contempt by Congress, referred to the DOJ for criminal prosecution, to which it decided to engage, and now they're in prison. Let's start from the beginning. As with Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon in similar cases, they were instructed to testify, and they did not. I can get into specifics more easily with Steve Bannon's case, as I've been following this more recently, because he just went to prison. Navarro's case is a little bit older, but he did go to prison recently in the past few months. Bannon was instructed to testify and turn over documents. The executive branch, Donald Trump, said no executive privilege. The argument from Democrats was he's not president anymore. He doesn't have executive privilege. He does. That's insane to argue that the documents of an administration of the executive branch lose privilege the moment they leave office. That makes no sense. Those are executive documents. Donald Trump said no. Well, now Steve Bannon talks to his lawyers and they're like, look, you can't defy the executive branch and turn over documents that aren't yours. And so Steve Bannon's been in a rock and a hard place. Executive branch says no. Legislative branch says yes. What do I do? Eventually, Trump relented and said, fine. Turn over the documents, testify, it's fine. Bannon said, okay, let's talk. When can we do this? And Congress, the J6 committee, said, too late. We don't care. And they referred Bannon to for criminal prosecution, citing contempt of Congress. He appealed it. It's still in appeal. But in the meantime, he's convicted. He's going to prison. Merrick Garland. Now let's go to where we are today. Joe Biden had classified documents in his office, multiple offices, and his home. That's a crime. A crime for which Donald Trump, under the same statutes, is also being criminally charged. However, Special Prosecutor Hur said, they had a conversation with Joe Biden, and he's a forgetful old man. We would not be able to prosecute. Now, Biden had these documents for personal gain. It is stated that he wanted to write a book and he needed them for reference. His ghostwriter deleted recordings, it's been reported, upon realizing that Biden was admitting to committing crimes. Special prosecutor says we can't prosecute the president. Not over this. He's a forgetful old man. You'd never get a conviction. Well, transcripts were released of that communication. And the Republicans said, we want to hear the audio tapes. The DOJ, they said, no, you can't have them. They said, well, then we'll file a subpoena. And they did. Forcing Merrick Garland to turn over the tapes. Merrick Garland chuckled and said, I don't care about the rule of law. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm going to defy Congress's subpoena. Well, Congress then said, if you do not answer the subpoena, you're in contempt. And so they filed contempt of Congress against Merrick Garland, who chuckled and said, try me, and refused to respond. After, they referred him to the DOJ for criminal prosecution for contempt of Congress, same as Steve Bannon, who is in prison. The DOJ laughed and said, we're not going to criminally charge Merrick Garland. He's allowed to break the law, and so is Joe Biden. It is a fact in the public record that both of these men have broken the law, and we're not going to do anything about it. Why? Because Democrats wield power like a sword. And Republicans whinge and whine and cry and lose. So the DOJ refuses to hold Merrick Garland to charge him criminally for a legitimate crime that we know for a fact he committed. It is a fact on the record. He committed a crime for which, similarly, Steve Bannon's in prison. So Rep. Luna, my respect, she's tremendous, says, then we will file inherent contempt charges against you, which is asserting the unilateral authority of Congress to enforce our subpoenas and our bills and our authority. This would have required a vote only in the House. It need not go to the Senate. It need not go to the president. If the House of Representatives with a Republican majority said he's in contempt, Luna wanted a $10,000 per day fine until Garland turned over the Biden-Hur tapes. It failed. It failed. We thought it failed last night, but it's the same Republicans who tried to block the bill, who voted against it. 3 of these Republicans are in safe red districts and had no reason to defy upholding the rule of law in this country. And in doing so, they said the rule of law in this country means nothing to them. They don't care how you live. They don't care how the law is upheld. They care only for their political power. And that's the game. These men, and I'm going to go through the story, must be made to feel maximum political pressure and pain. I've discussed maybe putting up billboards in their districts. I think the message of individual does not support law enforcement is simple enough. I don't think it'll negatively impact their elections or anything like that. But it's a statement that people need to understand. They do not support law enforcement. They are hypocrites. They are liars. They are evil men. They should never be allowed in Congress again. They should lose their elections. Presents us with a problem. Are we going to allow these evil scumbags because we need the political majority? Well, I present all of you with a serious conundrum, one that I face. How are you going to convince me that I should care about the victories of the Republican Party when even when they have the majority, they spit in my face? Democrats march in lockstep. Don't get me wrong, right now on Joe Biden, they ain't marching in lockstep at all. But wow, even AOC, the DSA just disavowed her because she's aligned with Biden and establishment Democrats and is not taking a hard stance against Israel. So they said we rescind our endorsement of her. Democrats have no problem following the whip crack. Republicans, same thing. Yeah, but for Democrats. The Hill reports. The House on Thursday rejected a resolution to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in inherent contempt and fine him $10,000 per day. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna spearheaded the effort, forcing a vote on the matter despite the reservations of GOP leadership, who prefer to try to obtain the tapes through other avenues like legal challenges. The resolution failed on the floor in a 204 to 210 vote. 4 House Republicans joined Democrats in voting against the resolution. Reps John Duarte of California, David Joyce of Ohio, Tom McClintock of California, Mike Turner of Ohio. Should these 4 men have voted with Republicans, it would have been 208 to 206 victory. Merrick Garland would be held in contempt. He wouldn't even go to jail. He'd be fined money until he turned over public record that Congress requested. Me? I don't care about what he did. I don't care about what Steve Bannon did. What I care about is that there is a system in place for which I can track, for which I understand the rules. I care about knowing you tell me how to operate and I will operate as such. No one wants to be a criminal, right? When the ATF unilaterally decreed that pistol braces were stocks and that if you had any, you were in illegal possession of a short-barreled rifle, what did I do? I detached the pistol braces and separated them as was the legal interpretation at the time. Upset and angry, but knowing there is a legal process and we will win. And guess what? We did. We did win. And that says to me, I know that there is a system we seek to uphold. The left seeks to destroy it. They want to burn it down. They want you to believe there's no rule of law. And these 4 Republicans want that too. They want you to believe there's no law. These men, all 4 of them, must be removed from Congress. We need to primary them. And in fact, I'll tell you what, if we can flip 4 other districts somewhere else, I have no problem losing 4 seats if these guys lose to Democrats, because they should be forced to retire. They should feel maximum pain. Now, I don't know how much these guys actually care about being in Congress, and I don't know how much it matters whether they are or are not in the end. I say this. These men should never be able to buy a hot dog in their district again. Anyone who let them join the Democrats, switch to the Democratic Party now. Because anybody who supports Trump and Trump supports Rep. Luna, anybody who believes that there is law in this country, that if you break it, you are held accountable, should deny these men. They walk into your restaurant, you say, you get out. Because the only thing they will understand is that there are consequences to being evil. 2 test votes the day before indicated the resolution had legs. A motion to table failed, and it failed an attempt to push it to the Rules Committee. Interestingly, these 4 Republicans, according to this report from Independent, had voted to try and kill the bill. Now, I will say this. Last night, we reported this story. Attempts to hold Garland in inherent contempt fail with 4 Republicans joining Democrats. That is still true to this day, but they misinterpreted what was going on. The Independent updated their story. Right-wing Republicans attempt to force vote on inherent contempt. They say that these 4 Republicans had tried to block the bill. Mike Turner, David Joyce, John Duarte, and Tom McClintock voted with Democrats to refer it to rules, but that failed. Today, they voted to destroy it, to end it, to allow criminal activity so long as it's the Democrats who do it. I tell you this right now. Either Steve Bannon and Navarro walk free over contempt of Congress or Merrick Garland go to prison. And you know what happened? The best Luna could get us is a $10,000 per day fine just to turn over the tapes. Not even criminal penalty for the crimes he committed. And there it is. It's these men. These men are the weak men who have urinated on your flag and your country. They have taken a dump on this Constitution, and they are laughing at you as it goes down. So let's pull up their districts. David Joyce, how's your district? Hey, you won your last election 61.7 to 38.3. You don't seem to be at risk. What's the reason you allowed criminal activity at the highest levels to persist? I don't know. The same was true for his election in 2020. Let's see if we can go down. We've got the 2022 election. Let's scroll down to 2020. Hey, 60 to 40, 39.9. Doesn't seem to be at great risk. Let's pull up Ohio's District 14. That's his district, right? He reps Ohio 14. Hey, that's an R+9. He doesn't seem to be at risk at all. They've voted Republican for the past 24 years. For what reason did you betray this country and allow a man to defy the law? Donald Trump is being criminally charged for classified documents, the same thing Joe Biden did. And all we asked now was for the tapes to understand why he will not be charged and Trump is. I want to know. Merrick Garland said, I don't care. You're not getting them. Then all we asked was a fine of $10,000 per day until he gives us the tapes. And this guy said no. Now, don't get me wrong. I can sit here and rag on Democrats all day for this, but I don't expect them to actually care about the rule of law in this country. They put Navarro and Bannon in prison as it is with their sham J6 garbage. They lie all the time. This guy should never be able to buy a cup of coffee again. Walk into your coffee shop, tell him to get the out. Mike Turner of Ohio. Here we go. How's his district? Let's pull up his district. What do we got? Ohio's 10th. Ohio's 10th district. Hey, how about that? 61.7 to 38.3. Doesn't seem to be at great risk. In his district, it's an R+4. A little bit closer. In 2008, it voted for Obama, but switched Republican after that. I don't see a political argument. You want to make the argument, that's what they're going to make. Well, he's in a swing district. He's got to be very careful. Don't care. I don't care. I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to understand why the rule of law is not being upheld equally in this country and how any of us can expect to understand this system. You have spit in the face of the American people and you have desecrated what the founding fathers fought so hard for. This flies in the face of the ethics, the ethos, and the visions of Benjamin Franklin. That it is better that 100 guilty persons go free than one innocent person suffer. The basis of such a claim, rooted in Blackstone's formulation, was that if the American people believe that even if they are good, they will be prosecuted, then there is no incentive to be good. The American people must know that the rule of law will be upheld, and if they are innocent, they will be protected. What you have done today, gentlemen, is told loudly and publicly to the American people there is no law. That if you are a Democrat like Garland, you can break the law. If you are Joe Biden, you can break the law and no one will hold you accountable. But if you're Steve Bannon, you're getting locked up. If you're Peter Navarro, you're getting locked up. If you're Donald Trump, you're getting locked up. So what message is being sent to the American people? Now, I fear, as I've stated many times, that after this election or at some time before, who knows, confidence among those in this country who align right-leaning will break. And they will begin to believe there's no government anymore. And that's what they have just done in one of the most shockingly egregious actions you can expect. They have outright said, Joe Biden is free to break the law. Merrick Garland is free to break the law. And all I say is these men shouldn't be able to buy a cup of coffee. That's it. I'm not saying anything else. That's the only message that will be delivered. Let's take a look at our friends over in California who also did the same thing. You've got John Duarte in California's 13th district. California's 13th congressional district. Look at that. Let's see. Where's the 2022 election? He won at 50.2 to 49.8. He barely won. And this is why I see him making this action. Because he's weak. He is a weak man of weak morals, and he is scared he's going to lose his job. I hope you do. I hope that in your district, the Democrat wins. At least we know who will be up against then. Not some man masquerading as someone who actually cares about this country. But if you're willing to go vote with Democrats, then you're a Democrat. And I'd rather have Adam Gray publicly state to my face his intentions as opposed to you, a lying scumbag. Now, this district is a D+4, California's 13th. This man's lucky to be in office there. I look forward to seeing you lose and be run out of politics. And there is only the thinnest line preventing me from actually campaigning for a Democrat. And that is, Democrats are overt evil. I can't do that. But I can certainly hope and wish for your failure because you're evil. And lastly, we have our California friend in CA5, Tom McClintock. In 2022, he won 61.3 to 38.7. Heavens me. He's in an R+9. In California, an R+9. It's a farming area. For what reason did these men in safe districts decide the rule of law in this country be damned? This is the evil of Congress. Every day we learn about members of Congress trading on insider information, getting rich off it. The only consolation, I suppose, is that with the knowledge of what Nancy Pelosi is doing, you can make the bet that she made, or bets, and then make money off her stock choices as well, along with many other members of Congress. They should not be allowed to do this. It's a conflict of interest. It should be illegal. But do you think these people are ever going to vote to take away their ability to get rich off of manipulating the system? Today, I tell you this, my friends. I fear for this country because Joe Biden is not being criminally charged for the crimes he committed, which are a fact. Classified documents. I don't care what your arguments are. They say, well, he cooperated. Trump didn't. Don't care. Fine. Don't care. He's not being charged for having classified documents. Trump is. Make your excuses. That's fine. And my next statement is, okay, then let's have the tapes from the DOJ, which is public record, so we can understand why. We'll prove your argument right. You said Biden did things right, Trump didn't. Fantastic. Let's release the audio tapes to prove you all correct, and then I'll buy you a Coke. And I'll say, wow, I was wrong about that. You guys were totally right. Let's play the tapes. And then, because you're right, of course. And Merrick Garland breaks the law and defying Congress. And they won't hold him accountable. He can do whatever he wants. That's it. And it's these Republicans' fault. Now I have a question for all of you. What makes you think I care to go and vote down ticket or to encourage anyone else to do the same thing? If this is what the Republican Party is. Controlled opposition. Johnson defying this for what reason? For political reasons? We want Biden to look foolish over his debate performance. Don't change the subject. We want politics. I don't care. I don't. I'm not going to play that game. I want to know that there's rule of law in this country. And if you are willing to break the rules and allow criminals run free so that you could try and win political power, you are the evil we are trying to stop. I reject this. The only thing I can say is this. I certainly do want Republicans to win. Not these men. I hope they lose. I hope they all lose. But you know what? They're in safe Republican districts. If you live in these districts, maybe you can ask them why they did this, why they decided to betray the rule of law, why Steve Bannon's in prison. And I don't care for whatever excuse they have. They've made no statements on this. I should say this. They've not posted on social media as far as I can see. For what reason did they decide rule of law be damned? Every other Republican was on board. The game they play is this. I'd imagine that Mike Johnson went to them and said, guys, you're in safe Republican districts. If you betray the Republican Party, Trump supporters, and Trump himself, you won't lose. This was a betrayal of Trump himself, who posted in support of Rep. Luna's resolution to hold Garland in contempt. And these men not only betrayed the American people, they betrayed the leader of their own party. Why? They're in a safe district. They're likely not going to face a primary challenge. They've got 2 years anyway, and that's forever in politics. So they're thinking, it's too late. Primaries are over. We're not going to lose in November. No Republican will sacrifice a Republican seat over what we do today. That's why I'm not like these people. Maybe I'm not like you. You see, there is great concern that if the Republicans don't take the majority of Congress, Trump would be impeached on day one. Yeah. I don't care. I literally don't. These men are evil. And I believe that when evil actions be taken, there must be some resolution to that issue. I will not tolerate these evil men sitting in the ranks because we want power. I don't live that way. That's not who I am. I don't like the Republican Party. I don't like the Democratic Party. I don't like the Libertarian Party. I like certain individuals within each of the parties. There's even some Democrats. Ro Khanna's not a bad guy. I am not going to vote for the guy or anything like that, but he's done some pretty good things, especially around free speech. I can respect that, but we very much disagree. But I do like him. That's not saying much. There's only maybe 10 Republicans that I actually think are good people. These guys are not them. They must apologize. They should issue an apology. I'll tell you what. They put out a statement on their X account saying we were wrong. We apologize. We will never do it again. I'll accept it. They must grovel. I do want to win. I don't want to see Trump impeached. But we better see some kind of resolution to this. I will personally use every venue and avenue that I have when I go to the RNC next week. The only thing I'm going to say to every single person I see is, what are you doing to bring these Republicans to heel? To make them cry and beg for forgiveness. I don't care for these games, man. Everybody can unfollow me. I am sick of this. I am sick of the leadership going to, they could have killed Obamacare back in 2012, I think. And leadership goes, no. Vote to keep it. We need the wedge issue. That's the game they played. We learned that from the Freedom Caucus. That's the game they play. I'm willing to bet Johnson goes to these guys and says, you're in a safe district, vote against it. No one's going to vote you out. You have my word. And they said, you got it, boss. But me, I don't play that game. I am not going to bend the knee to any of these scumbags. So I tell you this right now. If Donald Trump loses over this, it's the fault of these men. If the Democrats end up taking the House in these districts, fine. Because we cannot live in a system where scumbags like this play political games and allow criminals to walk free. And for the American people to question whether there is even law in this country, can't allow it. The system is in dire straits. And these are the men that are burning it down around you. I already know Democrats are doing it. We all do. We will not tolerate this. So I tell you, what's the solution? Hey, if we win all of these swing districts, if Biden burns everything down, yeah, look, these guys are going to end up winning. But I'm going to do whatever I can. And that's not very much. But I tell you this, these guys are persona non grata for us. What does that mean? Probably not much. I mean, Timcast IRL has its influence, sure. But it's not like we're kingmakers or anything like that. But I will do what I can. And I'll talk to my lawyer about what billboards I can put up in their districts, because these men are trash. They're not the only ones. I've had similar rage with other members of Congress, but I am so absolutely livid over this. I can't even, you get it. You get it. I am a block-headed individual. I tell you this. My emotionally, I would love to see the Republican ship sink over these men so that they can understand you do not betray us. See, in the real world, one-on-one, in matters of personal action, I'd be willing to go very, very far if you cross me. Now, I understand there are a lot of people in this country who are deeply concerned, and these are just local reps in their districts, the federal reps in their districts. Here in West Virginia, we've got Riley Moore, who's fantastic, and we've got Donald Trump. And I know that I can count on Riley, and we may disagree on things, and I also know that he's going to do the right thing. Because I've had a lot of conversations with him about him. I'm really excited that he's moving in, but I hope we never see anything like this from him. So all I can do is vote for the people that I believe in, and I don't have these guys in my district. But I hope they lose. You get the point. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.